Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. I wonder if I can make us bigger. Oh, I can. That's perfect. That's what I need. That's what I need.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You have Santisa here with Santisa Speaks, life coach. And then we have,
Hi, everyone. I'm Elise Lake. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, a friend, but a worshiper. And I'll be leading worship for the Esther Experience. So I'm so excited to be here and talk about this.
yes, come on, worshiper. We can't miss that part. That's important.
Listen,
So,
okay, I heard somebody one time, I was like attending an event. It was a mission event.
oh,
And the pastor's son was like, I'm not a worship leader, but I'm a worshiper. And I think that qualifies me to play a couple songs and to set the stage. And I've just never forgotten that of we define ourselves as a leader, but what qualifies us to do that is our posture in worship. So I need to be a worshiper first. And I've just never forgotten that.
that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was good
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
worshiping first matters.
Yeah. It
Mm,
matters. What we believe matters. And our worship comes from what we believe. That's like it's birthed out of what we believe. So the more time that I feel like we spend in the truth, it transforms our worship. Just like
mm,
when we go through trials, like that also transforms our worship. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But there's so much that kind of informs the position that we take. Yeah.
That's good. Oh man, can you expand on that at all? I
Mm,
feel like you held back a little bit.
I think so. Like when I think about my personal story, okay, I grew up in the church. My parents always made sure that we knew God exists, God is the head of our lives. And the first time I ever sang a song or like led worship, I was probably 7 years old. And the song was like, shake, shake, shake. Do you remember that song? Shake the devil off. Shake, shake, shake.
Shake the devil off. That was a vibe
Yeah.
though, Loki.
I mean, it really was. And there were verses to that thing, you know what I mean? But I remember feeling a seriousness, like preparing to sing that song as a child
Mm,
and feeling this I know what I'm singing or I have an idea of what I'm singing.
yeah.
Now, my journey with music I think clouded my ability to see the power in what it is that we sing. We talk about like
Mm,
there's power in the tongue, you know? We know
yeah.
that. And that's spoken and taught to us from the time that we are children to the time that we are old. Like life and death lies in the power of the tongue. But when it comes
Right.
to music, I feel like that's where it gets a little blurry because I love music. I love all types of music. And so can that really be the truth? When I think about music, that's where I'm like, well, that's a bit of a gray area, you know? And so when I was in college, I was that person who like I carry my guitar everywhere. It was an extension of who I was. Music is who I am.
Mm,
But I wouldn't say I would identify myself as a worshiper. I would say I'm a musician.
mm,
And everywhere I would go, if there was an opportunity to play music, I would play music. And I had a moment when I was in school where I was leading worship, like I was involved in a ministry on campus, and I was playing music in coffee shops or, at the bonfire or whatever.
yeah.
And it didn't matter what it was. It was just like, I can sing and I can play. And so I'm going to do this. Like, this is the talent that I've been given. It was recognized as that.
Mhm.
But there was a young woman in one of the ministries. She was participating in one of the services and was moved. And then that same week, she saw me playing music outside of the dorm, but I was singing something completely different.
Mm.
And it caused her to pause. So much so that she went to a leader in the ministry and was like, I'm wrestling with this. Like, I entered into the presence of the Lord under her, but now I'm struggling because I watched her do this.
Mhm.
And that leader, she was gentle in her correction of like, this is people's walks. Okay. And you have been given a gift, and that gift comes with a certain level of responsibility.
That's good.
And I'm not telling you how to do I'm not telling you what to do or how to do, but that's when that came, like that verse really came to light for me of what I sing is going to hold weight either way because of the talent that God's given me. But the decision to really believe what I sing is what
Mhm.
brings, I think, that anointing, the opportunity for that anointing to fall.
Mm.
The more that I have become aligned with worship, the words, the like reverence, the awe, the grace, the love, all of the things that might come from what can be included in a worship song or in a praise song,
Yes, ma'am.
it was way more important than any of the praise that I would get for singing something that I didn't really believe.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
No,
So,
that makes sense
okay,
because it's almost like it's the reminder of what he means when it's worship him in spirit and in truth.
exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Because there was this check
It's not
of
that. Mhm.
it was just so from what I'm hearing is there was this check of what is your heart posture towards me? Is this just
Mhm.
singing a song because this is what I can do? Or is
Mhm.
this singing a song unto the Father because this is what I believe? Is this a ushering in his
Yes.
presence because I want to live a lifestyle of one that
Yes.
is a worshiper?
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. It's one thing to say I can lead worship. I can lead a group in song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play the song and y'all are gonna sing the song. And together we might have an encounter, right? It's a different thing to go in and with the posture, the heart posture of I'm here to worship the Father, and that influences those who are also here.
Yeah.
And that creates this community where glory can fall
Yes,
because
ma'am.
we come in with the right attitude, the right posture. And that's
Mm.
something I had to learn. The the gifts that we are given, they can be used for whatever we choose to use them for. But when
Yeah.
they're used for, I think, the purpose, like the glory to glorify the Father, you can't even imagine what will come from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that's where I am in my journey of understanding what it means to be a worshiper.
Yeah.
My worship when I was 20, right, is different than it is now, approaching 35. It's different than when I just got married to now, and understanding the trials that God has brought me through,
Yeah.
being a mother and the fears that I had about giving birth, and then having done that and now raising a child who also is developing a relationship with God. All of
Yeah.
those things have shaped my worship today.
Mm.
And some of the things that I have noticed are, and I wonder for the women who will come to the Esther experience, one of the things I've noticed is like the sound of my voice when I sing now, and
Mhm.
the way that I pronounce words or sing words, because they have different meaning, or maybe
Yeah.
they actually have meaning to me now. Before, I heard somebody once say, like, I know I believe in God.
Mhm.
I know that he exists. I
Yeah.
know the truth. But that's different than I'm practicing what I know to be true.
Yes.
Knowing the truth and practicing the truth, those are two different things.
It's two different realities.
Yes. And can you, I mean, I believe that my worship is authentic when I sing, like, from the truth, from the knowledge of the truth,
Mhm.
but my eyes are opened while I'm worshiping when I believe it to be true, when I believe it can happen for me,
Mm.
or if I'm praising because it has happened for me.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
That's good. So what I'm hearing is like we can anticipate that the before you even come to lead us in worship, it's all about us joining in the overflow of the worship in which you've already put to your
That is my prayer. That is
yeah,
what I am praying for when I
yeah,
think about the Esther experience on the 6th, is that, because I've been going through it. We just finished a fast across this team, and I can truly say, like, get ready. I feel like
yeah,
the Esther experience part one, I was broken and I brought that brokenness and it overflowed and people were able to share in it,
yeah.
because I had been praying for an opportunity and the Esther experience was that opportunity. I just didn't know that at the time.
Mm,
This time there's like an anticipation
yeah,
for, if you were there the first time or if this is your first time, that doesn't even matter, because, like, God has something for us. The idea of purification is true. And I just went through it. So be ready,
yeah,
like, for the overflow. I mean, that's
yeah,
really how I feel. And I don't mean that to say only I will set the atmosphere. I don't mean that it to come out like that. But I hope that it will be like a match to, dry grass. Like, just ignite it. You know what I mean? Let's
yeah,
all experience it. Let's all
yeah,
be baptized. Let's
yeah,
all have breakthrough.
yeah. And I'm glad that you even used the reference of the matches because that's what the Lord showed me
Mhm,
for this one is that it's like we're passing out fire.
mhm, mhm,
And so with purification, like in the church, we hear purity culture, right? And purity is just all of these things.
mhm,
But the reality of if you think about the process of gold becoming pure,
mhm,
it's
mhm.
being put in fire
Yeah.
to expose what's impure. And then there's a beating, and then
Mhm,
it's put back in fire. And
mhm.
then you take it back out and it exposes. So, like, the journey of purification isn't necessarily without blemish.
Yes.
It's about whether or not you're going to let the fire of the living God refine you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's this misconception like purification means I have to get cleaned up before I come. But
Mm.
no, it's an embarking on dwelling with the one who can purify us.
Mhm,
And it's not perfection that we seek. Like how the Lord revealed it to me is like paying attention to Esther's story, the beauty treatments that we highlighted was a journey of purification. There was
mhm,
6 months of myrrh, which was used in anointed oil, which was used in the purification symbol. And then there were 6 months of perfume.
Mhm.
and the bathing in the perfume. So therefore there was this soaking, right, that's taking place to remove the filth and such, to apply a sweet fragrance. And I just think about how there's so much literal things in scripture, but also symbolism that both go hand in hand. And the Lord wants to do such a work in his women, in his daughters,
Mhm.
not just us as mothers or influencers, but in his daughters. Because
Mhm.
when we can assume the position of being daughter, then surely we can stand up in every other realm that he's revealed to us.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that's what I really loved about your explanation of being a worshiper. Like being one who worships and lives a lifestyle of worship. And I
Mhm.
believe that's why the Lord highlighted. So, did I ever tell you the story about how I asked you for the first Esther experience?
No, actually, I thought no, and I would love to hear it because I thought it was something completely different, completely different, a different person, a different connection. So, tell me.
So
I would love
years
to.
ago, you led worship at a Wife Life conference,
Mhm.
I
Okay.
believe it was.
Mhm.
That's when I was first introduced to you. That was what, at least 6, 7 years ago. I think that's when I first became a wife. And I've been
Mhm.
married 8 years now.
Mhm.
And so you were revealed then. I love the authenticity of your heart. And when I started planning this, and the Lord said your name, literally. And I was like, oh, how do I get in contact with her? Because I don't know her. And
Mhm.
so he
Mhm.
had me reach out. And I was just like, okay, Lord, I reached out. Like I just followed his prompting. And when you shared your testimony, like, yes, so I haven't led worship in a few years, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately, I'm just like, Lord, I thank you. I thank you that this could be the one of her coming back outside party. You know, her coming back out to step in the fullness thereof of what you have deposited in her, because I didn't know. I just literally, the
It
people he said
was.
pick, I picked. The people he said reach
Mhm.
out, and the way it flowed seamlessly as far as the
Mhm.
yeses. And it wasn't like I told somebody, I said, me and her talked 3 times via messages. That's it. I'm hoping for the best. I don't know what to expect. We're just going to see what the Lord does with this, because he said it's his. And so I bring that up because this time around, he said you are to speak. So not only will you be letting
Mm.
us come into the overflow of your worship, right? Inviting us into your secret place, which then my prayer is that we all allow our secret places to be revealed as we sing unto the Father, to break off whatever needs to be broken. And so, but then he said, now I need her to speak.
Wow. I have thoughts on that.
Would you like to share them or not yet? Is it supposed to wait till Esther? It's fine if it needs to wait.
I don't know. There is a lot that needs to wait. I believe that there are, I hope I don't sound crazy. There are voices in our head. There's a voice of the world. There's the voice that is like our, people would call it our personality, our subconscious. There's the voice of the Lord. There's the voice of the enemy. I think there are four voices that we are constantly trying to,
Decipher through.
um, yes, which one's the loudest, right? And so I believe that I hear the voice of the Lord.
Yes, ma'am.
But it wasn't until very recently that it was easier for me to decipher
Yes,
the
ma'am.
voice. For me to, I didn't have the discernment to really do that. And I think that that is what stands out to me so much about what you were saying and where God has led you, because we didn't know each other. We did not know each other, but it has been interesting, like how these relationships feel divine. They feel like divine appointments.
Yes.
And the willingness to like do the work of seeking the Father that
Mm-hmm.
has come from these relationships has been very interesting to me. They weren't direct prayers of mine. They were almost like indirect, uh, frustrations, like grunts of like, man, I'm unhappy with my life and I don't know what. And it's almost like God just kind of orchestrated all of these things
Yeah.
to position me. And I think that's why I now have something to say.
Mm.
Um, I have wrestled with, I love that you call that Wi-Fi because my Risha is such a dear friend. And we're talking about that, like talking about Wi-Fi. What does that mean for this year? And at the same time, with the Esther experience, them being different but similar.
Yeah.
And all of these women having to almost being in the same type of circle, of like, I didn't even know you knew my, like the connections that I didn't know existed. But
Yeah.
then now that I do and they make so much sense, it's been mind blowing. That's a bit of a side note and a rant. But one of the things that I think that God has revealed very recently, without sharing too much of my thoughts, um, is that I had developed. I was walking through life. I feel
Mhm.
like I was walking through the majority of my life trying to soften the blow.
Mm.
Period. Okay, soften the blow in this area or in this area. My faith, like, if I had to describe it,
Yes, ma'am.
I love people. I love creating space for people, but really, it was softening the blow for myself, right? Protecting
Yeah.
myself, not really getting too close, too vulnerable, or um, spending too much time on myself
Mhm.
and listening to the Lord and what He had to say
Yes,
about
ma'am.
myself. Um, it's been interesting to see how much God has revealed in your faith was limited by what you thought you could control.
Mm.
And when you finally took your hands off
Yeah.
because you had to, I was at a point in my life where I was giving. I just told my husband this last night. I was like, I was not giving up, but I needed to give. I needed to give up.
Yeah.
And when I finally did that, like the way that God met me and showed trust in me, and you won't even be able to imagine what I can do, what I can change, what I can influence. You thought you had to put your hands on this or, you know, keep your hands in this. And that was never the case.
Right.
Just the oh my gosh, I hear the Lord. One, I
Yes.
do hear the Lord. That realization was crazy. And I hear you to the point now where I want to obey. That realization was
Ooh.
crazy. And when I did obey, what you did, the things that I had been praying for, what you did that came right after I was obedient,
Jesus.
that's insane. But
Yeah.
that's a new lesson for me. Okay?
Mhm.
And that is something that I have dealt with when it comes to like some shame of
Yeah.
girl, you've been through some years of marriage and some years of life, you know what I mean? And like how the enemy would try to make you think you're just now learning this. And God's like, are you ready now? Like for what I have now that you have learned this? That's what I want to share with the
Ye
women who come to the Esther experience.
yes, ma'am.
Going through the purification process, it might take longer than you want. It might not be what you think it will be.
Mhm.
But if you allow yourself to be refined, you will be surprised. I mean, you will be surprised and pleasantly surprised, I feel like, in
Yeah.
what will come, who you are when you come out of it.
Mm.
And you'll be way more willing to do it again if you need to. Like,
Yeah.
um, there is no more fear because I see what could be.
Yes.
And that level of faith is what I want to share with others because
That's
it was shared
good.
with me.
Hmm. That's good. So before we go,
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, then you can ask me a question if you have a question.
All righty.
But my question is, what would you say to the woman who may be coming out of the place that you were once in? Coming out of the place of hiding herself because she wants to control all the things and not sure of the outcome.
You might be afraid of what's on the other side. It might not be what you think it will be. And that's okay. Because once you get to a place where, Lord, your will be done either way, I almost guarantee it will be better than you thought it would be. It's just getting over that hurdle and having the courage to trust in the Lord, even if you don't know what he's going to say or what he's going to do. It's still worth taking that step. That's me coming from a place of like, no, it will be worse. I'm afraid. I'm embarrassed. The things that I need to do, the things that you are asking me to do, I don't want to do. My pride tells me that I don't want to do it. You guys, I had to go to people and ask for forgiveness because I needed to acknowledge some things about myself. In order to do that, the Lord, you need to go repent. Once I did that, the thing I did not want to do because I was afraid of whatever the outcome would be, just like the prodigal son, he didn't go home for years because he was afraid. But what was it that met the prodigal son? What was it that met Esther? The gold scepter, the party, the celebration, the forgiveness, the grace.
Yeah.
The unexpected was on the other side. The unconditional was the unconditional love, grace. That was what was on the other side. So, to the woman who might be in the place that I was in, take that leap of faith because you've been in the place that you've been in for too long.
Awesome. So do you have any questions for me?
What would you say to the woman who joined this live or who's going to watch this video and she's like, I was interested in this because I saw the women who were involved, but I don't really know if this is for me. What would you say? Because this was dropped in your spirit and you have been just trying to be obedient to what the Lord has said.
Listen, because
So,
that's the only reason.
mhm.
What would I say? I would first ask a question of her, and that is, why have you disqualified yourself?
Mm,
Because oftentimes we as women disqualify
we
ourselves.
do.
I literally did it earlier as I sat with a friend. Like, I know the Lord wants me to do this next, but who am I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what is your thing that disqualified you from being in the room? First, that would be my first question. My second question is, it actually wouldn't be a question, it'd be a response. And my response to the woman would be, why not be in the room?
Yeah.
One thing I can guarantee you, this will not be another feel good conference. That's not the intent.
Mm-hmm.
This will not be another thing where you feel empowered for just that moment.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you're looking for, this is not the event you want to be a part
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah.
Because what's being deposited is going to require you to act.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to require a response. We're not giving out fluff. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're not giving out things to make us feel good for a moment. But I believe what the Lord is giving out through each and every speaker is a deposit into the future of your family, of the future of the
Yes.
generations to come behind you, the future of the areas, because we're all called to influence in some capacity. And I'm
Uh-huh.
not talking about the social media thing that we
Mm-hmm.
do. I'm talking about the Lord cultivated you in your mother's womb for a purpose.
Yes.
And so this is going to cause you to follow through on what he has already told you to do. So
Mhm.
that's why I would say, why not be in the room? What disqualifies you from being in the room? Is it
Mhm.
you disqualifying you? Because more often than not, we blame the enemy, but it's the things that we've spoken to ourselves. The enemy doesn't even have to assist.
Come on. Yes. It's the
It's the
truth.
lie we believed ourselves. So it's like he might have dropped a seed 10 years
Mhm.
ago, but why did you water it? Why
Mhm.
did you allow
Exactly.
it to grow? And that's why my life coach principle is I go after root systems. If you want to just deal with the fruit of the tree, I'm not your cup of tea.
Mhm.
I want to tear down the whole root system that has you believing it. I don't want to deal with the fruit. Let's uproot the thing that's not good, fill it with what is good, fertilize it, and allow the Lord to be grown in that empty place in which once hollowness stood.
Yes.
So why not? Why not you? Why not be in the room?
Mhm. That is so dope. That's yeah. Yeah. Why not you?
So, if you are on the fence, if you are wondering, should you be in the room, if you want to have a further conversation, feel free to message me because I'm open to it. And it's not to persuade you to be in the room, but I really want you to see you. At the end of the day, that's the purpose of this. That's why there's only 25 seats at the table, is because you will not be able to hide in this room.
Mhm.
At a conference of 303,000, you can hide there. But I want you to know that you're seen as the Father sees you. I want you to recognize that you have value, that who you are has value, not who you're becoming, but who you are right now in this moment has value. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or any of the speakers. I just opened y'all up, but they gonna be all right. Any
That's
of the
fine. Yeah.
speakers, feel
That's
free
fine.
to reach out, out to them. Or if you already just have an inkling of your spirit that you're supposed to be there, go ahead and purchase your ticket. Show up and show up expecting because the
Yes.
Lord has already prepared the way. He has
Mhm.
prepared the way not just for that day, but He's been doing the work in you. He's been doing the work in us. And so we're coming with a revelation from the one who reveals.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Esther Experience, My Journey of Purification, Saturday, April the 6th, 10 a.m.
Mhm.
at the Lux Event Center. We hope to see you there.
See you
Bye.
there.